amounts to a kind of rebirth.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Cinemacon is happening this week. Sony just did a big panel and revealed a bunch of new Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer footage, so we will break it all down. There's a bunch more Easter eggs and a bunch more clues about the characters and what's happening during the movie. It really did feel like they were trying to give as much away as possible, leaning into the Spoiler Bros jokes without literally giving away actual spoilers. Tom Holland didn't actually show up at Cinemacon, they just showed a hologram. It was Tom Rothman, the president of Sony, that was actually on stage doing the presentation of the new Spider-Man Brand New Day footage. One of the funny Easter eggs, though, is that when Tom Holland was introducing the footage in his hologram form, like the pre-recorded message that he did for them, he was actually wearing the same t-shirt that Peter Parker wears in Spider-Man Homecoming, "If you believe in telekinesis, raise my hand," which seems like just another Sadie Sink, Jean Grey X-Men teaser, because that is one of her core powers, both telekinesis and telepathy. Like they're doing everything they can to tell you that she is playing Jean Grey in the movie without literally showing you characters referring to her as Jean yet. We're also supposed to see some merch from the movie. Maybe the merch will also give us some more clues about her character too in the next couple days. I've got to be a little careful about how I show the footage from Cinemacon here, just because I don't want to get the video super banned by Sony, but the sequence of new footage from Spider-Man Brand New Day starts with Tom Holland's Peter Parker at a bodega when he spots his old friend Ned Leeds, Jacob Batalon, who no longer remembers him. Peter's sitting in the cafe, watching Ned walk in without noticing him. Then the clip cuts to night, and Ned is rolling up at a party that he and MJ are throwing at their apartment with supplies, and Peter follows him in. Inside, Peter navigates the party with a red cup. He sips from it, does not care for the drink inside because it's the beer from the keg that has the Jackal logo on it. There's a lot of rumors that the Jackal is going to be one of the villains in the movie, and it might actually be Keith David's mystery character in the previous trailer that we got, talking about the 3 life cycles of spiders, because it definitely sounds like Keith David in the movie, and the Jackal's whole thing is experimenting on different characters to try and create more powerful characters, kind of like Mr. Sinister does in the X-Men comics, messing with people's biology, and it might have something to do with why Spider-Man goes through his evolution. It starts to develop more comic book powers based on the other storyline, even though they're not completely adapting that storyline. All the different webbing transformations that you see him go through, getting the extra powers, is something that happened during a storyline by J. Michael Straczynski called The Other, where he basically evolved extra spider-based powers. But a lot of that gets into the spider totems, Ezekiel, and a whole bunch of stuff that they're probably not going to totally address in the movie, the way that Marvel simplifies a lot of those big comic book arcs. Like, a lot of people saw this scene of him fighting the Hand in the prison and thought that maybe they digitally removed extra arms and maybe he's going to turn into Man-Spider with the extra arms from the comics. I don't know if they're going to go that far. Both Marvel and Sony are famous for simplifying Spider-Man comic book arcs, all comic book arcs in general, quite a bit. But I do definitely think that they are digitally removing some stuff from the trailers to remove potential spoilers. Then moving through the party away from the crowd, Peter Parker finds a Chewbacca minifigure and reminisces about his time with Ned in Ned's bedroom. He has the flowers in his hand that you see in the previous trailer footage, but he's distracted by a series of photos of Spider-Man on Ned's corkboard. Ned comes into the room out of the bathroom and says, "Spider-Man actually saved me and my friends' lives one time in high school," because remember, the spell only erased the memory that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, not the memory of Spider-Man himself. So everybody on planet Earth remembers everything that Spider-Man did in the previous Spider-Man movies, the Avengers movies, all the Marvel movies, just not that it was Peter Parker under the mask, or the moments where he took his mask off. So this is why Ned and MJ remember the events of the previous Spider-Man movies, just not the parts where they were interacting with Peter Parker himself, knowing that it was Peter Parker. Only the parts where they were interacting with a version of Spider-Man or next to a version of Spider-Man. But in this moment, Peter finds out that Ned and MJ are trying to find out who Spider-Man is, not expose him, but to thank him, which he's actually bemused by. Peter plays dumb and acts surprised to learn that Ned invented something called a spider tracker, which he's also very amused by. So remember, Ned and MJ went to MIT, so Ned is much more tech-handy now, like he's actually much smarter than he was in high school, and he created this new technology, so he's still kind of being Spider-Man's man in the chair like he was during high school. Peter learns that Ned and MJ have narrowed Spidey's identity down to 2 prime suspects, showing a photo of Flash Thompson and their teacher with glasses, Mr. Harrington, from previous movies. And it got a big laugh in the theater when they showed this, and a big laugh from Peter Parker in the movie. This is also a big Easter egg for the comics too, because Flash Thompson in the comics gets the Venom symbiote eventually and becomes Agent Venom after Eddie Brock had the symbiote and was his version of Venom. But they're not doing Agent Venom in the movies. Like, Flash Thompson isn't going to become a version of Venom in this movie. But I know people are wondering, what did they do with the symbiote, if anything, at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, because of what they did with the multiverse during Venom The Last Dance. Straits are currently saying that they have pushed off any big symbiote storyline in the MCU for Peter Parker symbiote arcs till after Secret Wars, and if he does get the symbiote, it won't be until Avengers Secret Wars, and they'll do something with it, maybe in Spider-Man 5, maybe in Spider-Man 6, if they do want to do a Tom Holland Spider-Man symbiote arc at some point. But as far as all the footage we've seen and everything that everyone has said about the movie, and even some of the rumors about the movie, it doesn't seem like there's going to be symbiote stuff happening during Spider-Man Brand New Day. Sony and Marvel are also famous for dropping big teasers, not paying off post-credit scenes. So remember, they did this a lot during Marvel Phase 4. Like, when is Kit Harington's Black Knight ever going to come back with the Ebony Blade? When is Blade himself going to come back in live action? Thank you very much, Eternals post-credit scene that they're probably never going to pay off, or they'll wait like 10-20 years to pay off. Then while Ned is explaining his new spider tracker technology that he created, MJ walks in, a piano starts to play, it gets a little more moody, she introduces herself, and Peter calls himself Maynard, just a neighbor from across the hall, so he does live in their building. I believe Maynard is meant to be a reference to Maynard Tybalt, who's the ringmaster in the comics, who Spider-Man fought with the help of the Hulk and Daredevil during Amazing Spider-Man number 16, because we're going to see Hulk in this movie, and there are a lot of theories that maybe there'll be a Daredevil cameo too, but they're also going to have the Punisher in the movie too, so there's like a lot of similar things going on in the background, but I don't know if Ringmaster is an actual character in this film. There are a number of smaller villains that we do see him fighting in a montage in the trailer, like Boomerang, for instance, Tarantula. We're supposedly going to see a montage of him, and that's why there's so many characters in the actual trailer. It's not like there's going to be a really big part of the movie. They're going to have a montage like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse had at the beginning to show what Miles had been doing since the previous movie Into the Spider-Verse. Also on that front too, they did a presentation with new footage for Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. I'll explain that a little bit at the end of the video too. That is meant to be a completely separate thing, only the concept that so much time has gone by, like 4 years inside the events of the MCU, that they're going to show a montage to see what Peter has been doing as Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man since the events of Spider-Man No Way Home. But it's going to be like a quick montage. MJ then calls him a friendly neighbor, and he almost spits his drink out because Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is what he's called in the comics, and one of his solo comics is also called Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and it's what he turned back into after Spider-Man One More Day in the Brand New Day comic book arcs when Doctor Strange did a similar mind wipe spell in the comics to everybody in the MCU.
Friendly neighbor.
So part of the idea is they're implying that both Ned and MJ will eventually learn Spider-Man's secret identity. They'll figure it out, kind of the way that she almost figured it out before during Spider-Man Far From Home, before he literally told her. Then in another room, MJ tells Ned she was offered a job but turned it down and doesn't want to work for a soulless corporation. She feels like she is supposed to be waiting for something, and then they toast to that, which also feels like a wink back at Tobey Maguire's version of MJ during that Spider-Man movie back in the day, because she worked as a waitress when she was waiting to become an actress. But I also think that this cleverly reveals that they've since graduated from MIT, and that's why they're back in the city, in New York City. 4 years have gone by, they've finished their degrees, and are looking for jobs in New York City to explain why they're back all the time now and living across the hall from Spider-Man in the same apartment complex. When we saw him in the other trailer footage, watching videos of their social media talking about getting into MIT on the rooftops before he puts on the mask, then jumps off the building, that's probably part of the montage where they just show what's been happening over the past 4 years, and he just followed them on social media so he could see what his friends were doing year to year as things went by. Really hoping that he did not stalk them on social media all the time, 24/7, over that 4-year period, maybe just occasionally. But then in the new footage, Amon Esfandi's new character walks up at the party to MJ after a short hello. Remember, he's actually playing the live-action version of Ezra Bridger over in the Star Wars universe in Ahsoka and Ahsoka Season 2. After a short hello, he intimately kisses MJ, revealing that he is currently her boyfriend, kind of like a Paul-type figure, so I hope he is prepared to be one of the most hated characters in this movie. We all know what happened with Paul in the Spider-Man fandom. Do not get between MJ and Peter Parker. While this was going on, they started playing the song Loser by Tame Impala, so if you're a big Tame Impala fan, that does appear during the film. As Peter sees it and just shuts down completely emotionally saddened, and it is definitely time for him to bail on the party. So the camera then fades to black. There's a sizzle reel that plays of footage that we saw in the previous trailer of him fighting, running into the Punisher, and running into Damage Control. And this is where the new footage picks up again, when Spider-Man gets Damage Control agents to hold on as he limbers up and stretches to fight them, ultimately webbing them to a fence, joking that he's not in high school anymore, so he has to start stretching. Within the world of the MCU, remember that he got snapped, so he's not that old, but he's still in his 20s because 4 years have gone by since the events of the last movie. So there's making jokes about him becoming an old man, even though that's not really going to happen for like another 30 years. And because of his Spider-Man powers, he actually ages a little bit more slowly, like he has a bit of a healing factor. Not quite on the level of Deadpool or Wolverine, but he heals a little bit faster than a normal human does. But it kind of seemed like the new Damage Control footage where he fights with them is during the encounter they have with the Hulk and Sadie Sink's character, because Damage Control apprehends both of them during the movie. Not Spider-Man, but Bruce Banner Hulk after he goes back into Banner form and he's been Hulk and been on a rampage, and Sadie Sink at different points. They were able to apprehend Sadie Sink's character, which is why you see her locked up in that prison in the Damage Control place.
We are faced with a danger that we can't control. One we can't even see.
One of the other parts of the montage is also in the jail where he's fighting the Hand characters, and it's part of the new posters that they revealed for the movie too. So notice that MJ is in the lens. They did the same thing with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man, where they do a poster with someone framed in one of his eyelids. I have looked all over in Tom Holland's poster, and I can only see MJ in the lens here. I can't see anybody else in this lens. You can let me know if you see anything else in the background too, but I don't think it's meant to reveal anything else. But there are a lot of people that are now wondering, wait a minute, is MJ a bigger part of the movie than they said before? Because Zendaya actually said that she wasn't that big a part of Spider-Man Brand New Day. She was busy filming another movie while they were filming this and just went back and forth. She is in the movie, but like she's not the biggest part of the movie. Sadie Sink's Jean Grey supposedly is a bigger part of the film, which would make sense. My assumption is that at Cinemacon, the reason why they were hyping up Zendaya so much and her in the poster here is because they don't want to give away too much about Sadie Sink yet, so they're just showing you what they do feel like is not spoilery yet. But because of a post that Mike Coulter just made on his social media recently for Daredevil Born Again Season 3, there are a lot of people that are wondering if in the scene where Spider-Man is fighting the Hand in this prison, if it's the same prison where Daredevil is being held after Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Mike Coulter just posted a picture of himself with Daredevil in a prison jumpsuit and a beard and Karen Page inside a prison, implying that at the end of Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Daredevil winds up going to prison. And they will probably do a version of the Devil in Cell Block D comic book arc during Season 3. So you can see how people are trying to connect the dots between Daredevil Born Again, him in prison, Daredevil in prison, and Spider-Man now in prison with the Hand. So people are wondering if there's any connection, and maybe Daredevil will show up in a cameo in the movie inside this prison. There have been a lot of theories about Daredevil showing up in other scenes too, where he's fighting the Hand, like this outdoor scene where they clearly removed a couple characters digitally. Like there's other stuff going on below Spider-Man here, but they don't want to tell you who it is yet. It is definitely possible that Daredevil is in the movie somewhere, but this prison that he is in, the Spider-Man is in, fighting the Hand, could be a completely different prison than Riker's prison, where Daredevil is probably going to be held at the end of Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Also remember, if this Luke Cage scene with Daredevil while he's still in his prison jumpsuit with the beard is during Season 3, Season 3 is supposed to take place after the events of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Brand New Day takes place between the events of Season 2 and Season 3, so if he's still in prison in Season 3, it means he probably doesn't break out during the events of Spider-Man Brand New Day, but we will see. Just hold on to all those theories loosely.
Glad we found each other.
I'm not hugging you.
Since this video is starting to get a little bit longer than I planned, I'll just do a separate Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse video for all the footage they revealed at Cinemacon later this week at some point. So if you do have questions about Beyond the Spider-Verse 2, you can also post those in the comments below, and I'll just add them to that video when I make it. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below and all your theories about what's happening with the cameos and the secret characters that they haven't fully revealed yet. We are supposed to see some more merch and other things from Spider-Man Brand New Day. Hopefully they will reveal a couple more clues about what's happening with the characters like Sadie Sink's character and everything else in the movie. So if we do get more teasers the next couple of days, I will do videos about it. And if more footage does wind up leaking out, if you do have that footage, please leak that so that we can all see it. My next big video will be for Daredevil Born Again Season 2 Episode 5. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. There's also new episodes of The Boys and Invincible this week too. I will also post those videos as quickly as possible, so click here for all of that. I'll update the link as soon as I post those, and click here for all my Spider-Man Brand New Day videos too. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.